In this video, I will show you how to maximize a short visit to Denver. First thing we did was visit Red Rocks Park. There's plenty of hiking and 200-mile panoramic views of Denver and the plains. One thing that I loved about this trip was the geographical diversity. To the east of Denver, you will observe the high plains, and of course to the west, you can see the Rocky Mountains. We were unable to enter Red Rocks Amphitheater. The entrance was closed off, but we could hear the Head and the Heart doing their sound check as we were leaving. Friday morning, we drove to Georgetown, Colorado. It's about a 1-hour drive, but it's truly the most beautiful drive, even in the rain. Georgetown is a small town nestled in the mountains along Interstate 70. It's formerly a silver mining community, and the views are breathtaking. In the 1870s and the 1880s, the Georgetown Loop was constructed as part of a larger line, the Colorado Central Railroad. The line was dismantled in 1939 but was restored in the 1980s and is now a fun tourist attraction. In the summer months, you may want a light jacket depending upon the weather. The train ride is an hour and 15 minutes with a stop in the neighboring mining town called Silver Plume. After our train ride, we headed to Idaho Springs for lunch. We ate at a delightful pizza spot called Bojo's. Bojo's is known for their mountain crust, and honey is brought out so that you can enjoy your crust as dessert. Next, we drove back down I-70 towards Denver to explore Genesee Park, or at least that's how I think it's pronounced. We were hoping to see the bison herd, but we certainly saw plenty of elk only feet from my window. Next, we went to Lookout Mountain. This is where Buffalo Bill is buried. And you can't see it in this, but you can actually look down and see the Coors Distillery and the Colorado School of Mines. After such a full day, it was time to relax at a Colorado Rockies game. The weather was perfect, the food was tasty, the Rockies won, and the fireworks were poppin'.
Following you, and I think to myself.
Saturday morning, we drove 2 hours to Estes Park. Estes Park is a town near one of the 4 Rocky Mountain National Park entrances. We started the day by visiting the Stanley Hotel. You may recognize this hotel from The Shining or Dumb and Dumber. The Stanley Hotel was built in 1909 by Freeland Stanley of the Stanley Motor Carriage Company. He frequented Denver as he hoped the Colorado air and the sunshine would be helpful for his tuberculosis. Once he recovered, he resolved to build a resort, as the rustic inns in the area at the time did not quite suit his fancy. On the property, there are several restaurants, a chocolate shop, a coffee shop, and more.
No way! That's great! We landed on the moon!
Next, we were off to the nearby Rocky Mountain National Park. It's important to note that you must register for your entrance time. The only time we could get in was 2 p.m. The earlier the time, the longer you have to enjoy the park. I'm told that the earlier the entrance time, the longer you'll have to wait in line to enter. For us, we only waited in line for 10 minutes at the Beaver Meadows entrance. We drove the ever-winding Trail Ridge Road up the steep, snowy, rocky peaks. The entire road can take 2 to 4 hours to drive through, depending upon the time of day. However, we drove through very quickly and stopped several times to get out and take in those beautiful views. On this trip, we happened upon a ton of elk, and we kept our peepers wide open to hopefully spot a moose, but to no avail. Maybe next time. In this clip, we didn't know what was slowing down the traffic until we realized we were behind a coyote. And here we get stuck directly behind that same coyote.
He's letting us pass though. That's sweet. Oh, no, no. I'm gonna stay right here. I'm gonna stay right here. Oh, there. Oh.
Now take a moment and enjoy these beautiful, breathtaking views. We exited the Grand Lake entrance and toured Grand Lake the lake and Grand Lake the town. It was beautiful, and then we headed back through Trail Ridge to visit Sprague Lake and Bear Lake. These clips were taken at Sprague Lake, and I promise you it's worth spending a little extra time here. So, quick story, I spotted this bird, I think it's a dusty grouse, I'm not sure, and I pointed it out to some nearby professional photographers, and they were like, good eye, and I felt proud of myself, like I wasn't just filming with my iPhone. By 8 p.m., it was time to exit the park. We grabbed dinner at Estes Park and then drove back to Denver. It was a short trip, but I felt like we saw so much beauty and enjoyed so much food, and I would highly recommend following this itinerary for a solid weekend in Denver.